Start now. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for attending this session. This is Raheel Al-Kayoumi, librarian at Mill Library in the UAE University. So we are continuing on the series of the library session, and today's session is about advanced literature reviews. The presentation will cover these main topics. We'll see the definition, what is a literature review, and the importance of literature review in our thesis or dissertations, and what are the necessary skills that we should hold, and types of literature review, and what we should consider when we are doing a literature reviews, what are the elements, process or the steps, typical steps of doing a literature review, and what we shouldn't include on the literature review, and we'll see some common errors made when conducting a literature review. So the first, we'll discuss about literature review. What is a literature review? If we'll see, the literature review is a comprehensive and up-to-date overviews in a specific area of interest, and also literature reviews could be critical evaluation of the research, that's including the most important works published on a topic by scholars and researchers. If you look for the literature review, also is designed to provide an overview of sources you have explored while researching a particular topic, and demonstrate to your readers how your research fits within a larger topic of study. Sorry, I move another, yes. Okay. So what's the importance of literature review? Literature reviews actually explains the background of research on a topic, demonstrate why a topic is significant to a subject area. And when you're conducting your literature review, we'll see you need to discover the relationships between research studies and ideas. Literature reviews identifies major themes, concepts, and researchers on a topic, and identify gaps in existing knowledge to find out if your study is worth doing, and also observe some points of disagreement. Literature review also discuss further research questions that logically come out of the previous studies, and find out what's been done before. So if you are conducting your literature reviews, you will see these some points when you are searching or doing literature review. You might think, why I need literature review on my, why should include a part of literature review on my thesis or the dissertation. Okay. When a researcher conducts his literature review, he must have three main skills. He should be adapted at searching online databases and print indexes. He must have a knowledge on how to search on resources and how to locate references. Able to evaluate or analyze what you have read. So he needs to read carefully all the data and information, and he needs to evaluate his results at the end of when he is writing. Able to incorporate the selected reading into a coherent, integrated, and meaningful account. That means when you are writing your literature review, at the end you need to combine or synthesize your ideas or results in a coherent way, which means that you need to write, your writing style has to be easy for the reader to understand what you are going to say, or he should understand or analyze your ideas. right? So what are the types of literature reviews? There are more than 10 types of literature reviews, and we will see the 4 common types of literature review and the most used on research by researchers and scholars. So the type of literature review actually depends on the researcher disciplines, whether the researcher is writing his PhD or publishing a study in a journal, or completing assessment task in his undergraduate study. So, but if you look for these 4 types of literature review are most common and highly used on thesis or dissertation. So let us see the table. We'll see the first one is narrative or traditional literature review, rapid review, scoping review, and systematic review. We'll discuss the description and how approximate time frame or time period it takes, and the number of reviewers should include on each of these literature reviews. So let's see the first one, which is narrative or the traditional literature review. If you look for the description, is a generic review which identifies and reviews published literature on a topic. So the purpose of this type of review is actually to describe the current state of the research on a specific topic, which may be broad. And it doesn't take a long time. It's actually between if you see that approximate time frame in 1 week to 4 weeks, almost around 1 month. And the number of reviewers is, you will see 1 reviewers, 1 researchers. Okay, let me jump into systematic review because rapid and scoping review is part of systematic. Systematic is seeks to systematically search for and appraise and synthesize research evidence in order to aid decision making and determine best practices. And this and systematic review is an approach used mostly in health science, medicine, and I think on education and social policy are also they used a systematic review. It takes a long time, from 8 months to 2 years, and cannot be done alone. So there are from 2 to more than 2 reviewers. Right? Now let's see the rapid review. Rapid review is a description is part of systematic and is a description of existing literature. Rapid reviews are conducted using the same methods as in systematic review, used a coherent and rigorous ways, but rapid from its names, it means the accelerated the process of systematic review. So the review process are simplified and fast-track to produce information in a shortened time frame. If you compare it between systematic and rapid review, we'll see this is take less time, 2 to 6 months, and number of reviewers around two reviewers. Scoping review, it's also known as a mapping and review, and it's similar to systematic. They use a coherent, rigorous methods, systematic methods, but because it from its name is mapping, so they answer a broad research questions. So they cover higher materials than rapid reviews. But it takes less times, around 2 to 8 weeks, And the number of reviewers is 1 reviewers or 2, between 1 and 2. Okay, if we jump into the figure, you will see how it easier makes, and the figures shows the difference between reviewers in terms of speed, methodological detail, risk of bias, and comprehensiveness. And the type of literature review will see the narrative or traditional, scoping, rapid, and systematic review. So the traditional one, speed, it depends on the research area. It doesn't takes more than 4 weeks. Methodological detail, there is no method. There is no a method for a traditional review, but it mostly consists of introduction, body, and conclusions. We'll see a high risk of bias in some of literature reviews. That means the authors is strongly agree on ideas and ignore other perspectives or other point of views. And comprehensiveness is also depends on the author and depends on the topic as well. Okay, let's see the systematic review. Takes the frame time or the speed for systematic when conducting a systematic review is very slow. But they have more explicit methods, coherent methods. The risk of bias is very low compared to narrative review. Comprehensive, more comprehensive. A systematic review should be comprehensive and has more. They include so many studies and work. Okay, so scoping review is takes a bit is a bit faster than rapid, and also includes a few methods, and in the middle of risk of bias, and in the middle of comprehensive, not too much, no, not less, right? Okay. So what are the elements you need to consider when you are searching or doing the literature review? You need to look for you need to see to locate major formative works in the field. Look for related works related to your. Look for related works related to your research topics. A certain key researchers working on this topic. Find main ideas, conclusions, and theories, and establish similarities and differences. Notice main methodologies and research techniques they have been used on when conducting the literature review. Identify gaps in existing research and see if you can investigate on the previous works and you can fill the gaps. Show relationships between previous studies and theories. Provide context for your own research and explore existing information in the field of research. Explore new ideas and new theories. Okay. So what are the process or the typical steps when you are doing your literature review? The typical steps is, we'll see, include 6 steps. The first step, which is usually select a topic or define your research area. what are you going to talk about, what is your research topic is about. Then definitely you need to search the literature using your resources and references. Then develop the argument and see the claims and disagreement on your work. Survey the literature, critique the literature, and the last thing is write and organize your thesis or dissertation or your literature review. So let us jump into the first step, which is select a topic. How can I select a topic? Select your topic based on your interest and available scholarly literature. Consult, an important point is to consult your mentor, your professor, and see seminal papers on the topic. Search for seminal papers on the topic. Define what you will include and what you will not include in your research. And ask yourself, is the scope wide enough to be able to ascertain a particular niche, or is the scope so broad that it will lose your direction? So, is your topic is very broad topic, and do you need to write a specific part of your research? Think of this question in order to select a good research topic. Okay. After you select after you define your topic, it's time to search the literature. I know you are now expert on searching on our library's homepage. So here is some steps to search on literature review. Steps for searching the literature, either using you can use both these tools. The first one is library search, using our search box, the library catalog, which is available in our homepage, in the first page of our library's homepage. So use the library search box below to find a broad list of items in your topic, and locate your what you can locate your resources, like books, articles, conference papers, thesis, and dissertation. So let's see. Yes. So here is the search box where you can locate your references and resources, and you'll see the statement he'd find article, books, and more sources. All right. And the second tool is to go exactly to the library databases. Use the library databases to find peer-reviewed, high-quality articles and research papers. This is a crucial stage for researchers and scholars to search specifically what they need from library databases, and they can, if you are not sure which databases are relevant to your subject area, use the browse by subject. Let us discover this tool. A browse by your subject. Okay. By subject, if I see I want to search for education, so this link will guide you to the library guide that is available on our homepage. Let's see education if we do have. Yes, we do have some education, early childhood, and okay. If we click on one of these, yes, you will find the LibGuides or the references or resources about early childhood education in our collection. All right. Okay, what is another tool is our section on the libraries, browse by by subject section on the library's databases. Yes, if we go to library's databases, again from library guides. Yes, this is again from A to Z library guides. Let me show you how to access to here. So from tools and guide, go to LibGuide. Either you can browse by subject or from A to Z database list. Okay, go to A to Z list and then select, let's say, education, and you will see all the databases found for education. Around the 12, yes, database specific for education. Okay, and I saw another one, education UAE. Oh, okay, for science direct. Yep. All right. So as I said, using your search box on the homepage or by using databases, find resources within database, and you can also retrieve the information from tools and guide, then LibGuide. Either used by subject or A to Z database list. Okay, now let us move into the presentation. Okay, so you define your topic and then you search the literature using different resources. After you search the literature, search in article databases, both general and subject specific. Look for the bibliographies in books and articles, bibliography in books, the reference list at the end of the books, or references in articles. And look for the key authors or studies that have been cited, and search for these authors' work. And there are some other literature review or review articles that called grey literature. So what are grey literature? Is information produced by all levels of government, academic, business, and industry in electronic and print format, but not controlled by commercial publishing. So it is hard to get this grey literature. So what grey literature includes? Thesis and dissertation, conference proceedings, newsletters, reports, government documents, informal communication, translation, research reports, and so many sources. But as I said, it's hard to get this grey literature, but it might be very helpful for most of scholars and researchers. We actually help our students if they need some papers that aren't that is considered as grey literature. We try to get to them because we know that sometimes he cannot find it easily. All right, so grey literature may present a number of challenges for the researcher. It's difficult to find, as I say. Many documents aren't web published, and that's true. Not popular for on academic or for public. Older documents may not be archived, and short print runs may lead to a lack of availability. Format and citation information may be inconsistent. Volume of material may be overwhelming and consuming. And sometimes the quality of evidence varies. So be careful when you are choosing or selecting a type of grey literature. I have sessions, sorry. Okay. Okay. So then develop the arguments. Map out the claims on the literature, there and see all the agreement and disagreement on literatures. There may be multiple. What is the data and its relevance? So look for the data and is it related to your topic? Is there enough strength for what is being claimed? Where are the gaps in the literature? And where are the connections? And is it related to your work? Think of these questions when you are searching and evaluating your information or data. Okay, now let us move into the writing the review. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, writing the review. I'm sorry, someone is coming in. Okay. Literature review must contain at least 3 basic elements: introduction or background, the body of the review, and the conclusion. This is the basic thing for literature, traditional literature review. So what is included in the literature? You will on the introduction. Introduction gives a quick idea of the topic of the literature review, such as the central theme or organization pattern. So introduction is actually explain the overview of your research topic. The body, how to organize your and what is the methods you're using on the body. So it contains your decision of sources and it's organized either chronologically, thematically, or methodologically. So what the types of methods you are using on the body of the review. Conclusions is or the recommendation. Discussion. Discuss what you have drawn from reviewing literature so far and where might the decision proceed. So you recommend some further studies to do, and someone can continue on doing your continue where you have stopped. So give some. Okay. If we look to this this figure, how to structure your literature review. Actually, the literature review starts from here, from up, background, and background more to do with your topic area than your research questions. So the background gives an overview of your topic, but doesn't answer your research questions. And then you will narrow your literature review. So narrow categorize, you may deal with sources in more detail. So you will be closer to what you are doing, but not match directly to your research questions or research theory. But when you are reaching to the end, not the end, I mean, when you are reaching the point where you will answer your research question, will be here. So you will use a few sources, and these categorize close to your research, and you may find you are looking at a few key papers in detail. So at the top, you will see you are using a lot of information and sources, and at the end, you will, when you are reaching your research questions, you will use a few papers or a few references. Right. Do you have any questions on how to write a literature review and how you should start and when you should end? Some researchers are keep writing, but they don't know when they should stop. Right. Okay, if we look for some examples to how to write a literature review, I think graduate studies they have their own templates, and graduates and students should follow these should follow the templates. I just picked three titles for from education. Let us see the first one, the first example, the impact of guided reading on KG1 students' reading performance. Okay. Here. Okay, I'll click on the titles and we'll see how he formed and organized and how she organized her and how he organized نسيبه. Organizing. Okay, so if we look for the outline, it is well structured and have all the heading and subheading. Chapters is introduction. Let us see. We have here an introduction, overview, purpose of the study, objective and significance of the study, research questions, scope of the study, rationales and significance of the study. There is a summary of chapters. Okay. Then guided. So he. If you look for the chapter 2, you will see guided reading, literature review. So he starts first giving an introduction overview, then guided reading, literature review. Okay, let us jump on the on page 6. So see how the literature review is organized. He starts by an overview of the first chapter is introduction. He gives an overview and purpose of the study, objective and significance of the study. See all his research questions also he pointed out. Study, and if we look for chapter 2, guided reading, literature review. Alright, so look for these examples. Introduction, and he gives an introduction, chapter 2, then the subheading of his research topic. Reading. See how it's well structured and well organized. His thesis. Okay, here is one example. If we look for another example, we'll see again in the same format and in the same organization. Okay, let me see the other example. Sorry. The second example also for AMNA. Let's click on the top, on the title. Let us see the outline and look for the overview and research method. Again, you will see an overview, an introduction, that in chapter 1, which is an overview. Then chapter 2, we'll see literature review. If we go to page 13, I think yes, page 13, literature review. See how it's organized. Alright, so make sure to follow the template that is on, I think on graduate students. They have a template for in College of Graduate Studies. They have a template for graduate students. They should follow follow the template in order to get a good thesis. Okay, so back to the presentation and see what we have left. All right. Okay, so when you write the review, okay, in writing literature review, the purpose is to convey to the reader what knowledge and ideas have been established on a topic and what their strengths and weaknesses are. The literature review must be defined by guiding concepts. As you have seen, you see the examples of literature review, how it's structured. You will have your research objective and problem or issue you are discussing and your argumentative thesis. Remember that literature review, it is not just a descriptive list of materials available or set of summaries. So what we shouldn't include in the literature review, not unnoted bibliography. So do not collect too many articles or too many references that is not related to your topic, in which you summarize each article that you have reviewed. So a literature review goes beyond basic summarize to focus on the critical analysis of the reviewed works. So focus on the worth materials rather than you are summarizing too many articles or sources. Literature review is not a research paper where you select resources to support one side of an issue versus another. As I said, you need to avoid bias. And all sides of arguments should be explained, and the areas of agreement and disagreement should be highlighted. So do not focus on one idea and ignore the rest point of view or the other perspective. See the purpose of the articles of the papers and try to be to avoid bias. Okay, what are the common errors that we mainly seeing when conducting or doing a literature review? The sources in the literature review do not clearly relate to the research problem, and when the researcher is just writing and collecting articles without seeing or without evaluating if it is related to his topic or not. And sometimes students are in a rush and they do not take sufficient time to define and identify the most relevant sources to use in the literature review. And the third step, which is uncritically accepts another researcher's findings and interpretations as valid, rather than examining critically all aspects of the research design and analysis. Only includes research that validates assumptions and doesn't consider contrary findings and alternative interpretation found in the literature. But again, here you need to see all the sides of arguments and see the agreement and disagreement of literature review. Okay. Do you have a question here? Just check the chat. Does anyone have it? Okay. Yeah, okay. Silence means good. If you have any question, please drop your question on the chat.